Which job title will vanish as AI advances?
Product management.
What new job title will emerge in future of design?
Business designer.
One piece of advice you will give to aspiring designers.
Zoom out always.
One common mistake every designer makes in their early career.
Focus on the UI.
What is the best trick to make a portfolio stand out?
Make it better.
How fast can you find a bad designer in a design interview?
This is tricky.
How should design leaders prepare their teams for an AI first future?
That's a great question. I love this question actually, and this is my favorite question.
Hi Alipta, welcome to today's episode. And today we are going to talk about AI and design. And it's great to hear from you. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Alipta, and before we begin, can you just give a brief introduction about you?
See, I always wanted to be a designer, and that's why I'm in design.
Mhm.
So I am a design graduate from one of the oldest art schools in Kolkata, Rabindra Bharat University. And since then I started my career as a graphic designer. I moved to India small startups, and from there I actually was a front end engineer for many years in my career. And then finally I moved into back into UX. I When I was working in Wipro, that's the time I started switching my gears and moved into from front end engineering to design, and then I took up design leadership role later on.
Is there any drastic change a designer to adapt when someone is moving from graphic to UX?
Yeah, definitely. You need to have some understanding of UX design, like what are the principles, how do you build prototypes? The thing is, I did not have much of a challenge because I was on the other side of the table, right? Because I used to take requirements from a designer, right? So designer used to give me mock-ups, and I used to convert them into HTML files, right? So I kind of understood like what job profile they had, what they used to do, and of course these people helped me a lot in transitioning because I used to sit with them, help them, or sometimes improve their workflows, like if you could have done this in a better way, to make user feel more involved or more engaging, right? So those kind of tips also used to come from my side. And yeah, it helped me that way. I mean, they rather help me that way to transition better. Yeah.
Awesome. You mentioned front end engineering also. How much the coding knowledge can help for a designer?
Yeah, see, it helped me. uh, I don't know if it might help others,
Mhm.
because today when I look at an engineering problem, I can connect the dots, right?
Mm.
And I can relate, like there could be also engineering challenges which probably may not help you, or you might not be able to implement what you expect. You might have to take into consideration the engineering challenges also while you design, right? So those understanding those constraints also are important, right? I can relate that, okay, what design might help them to you know uh, make things faster.
So my first question is, how do you see AI transforming the UX design process?
The shift is more towards building conversations and chatbots, right? It
Mhm.
is more like you're not building a full-fledged software where you used to connect your data to a database and those data you're populating on the front end layer. So that era is gone. Right now, the new UI is your chatbot, right?
Hmm.
So definitely we are working with a large set of data set. On the data set, we're applying models to derive certain outcomes, and but all is happening through conversations, right? So the focus is more towards how do you design these conversations, right? What are the principles we might need to consider to design these conversations, right? I wrote an article called Layers of AI, which is in Medium. Give out a zoomed out view of what design can do in each of this process, in each of the stages of an AI development solutions, right? So if you're building an AI solution, like there are different stages, right? I actually got inspired by James Garrett's 5 layers of UX, and I adopted that model to make it fit into the AI piece of it, right? So
Hmm.
how do you build AI solutions, right? So that model says there are basically five stages, but it's all starts with AI vision, right? What is the AI vision you have? Do you want to build AI for your business? Do you want to build AI for any kind of social good, or maybe you're addressing some climate changes, or you're ensuring you're do better things for healthcare industry, or you want to use AI as a collaborative partner, right? So that it can augment your capabilities, human capabilities, right? So those are the things, right? And from once you move from the vision layer, you move to the data, the use case layer, where the most important thing is what use case you want to adopt to, what is the journey of a customer, right? So you can spot those AI opportunities, right? And then probably build some quick prototype and test, and also understand like what are the ethical responsibilities the designer have, right? So those
mm,
multiple angles comes in, and then from there you move up to the ladder, right? Where you deal with data, you deal with model, and you deal with UI. So in the definitely in the model space, what does the model can do for you, right? What are the is the model capable enough to address the user needs, or there is still some biases involved? uh, how can we explain the model better to the user? What are the limitations of the model? So all those multiple angles comes in, right? And the same goes
mm,
with data, like what data might need. Is that data is good for training your AI models? Then finally the UI layer, where you deal with the widgets, right? How do you want to
mm,
present this in the chatbot, right? Show me the profits for the last 5 years. Do you
mm.
want to show it in a graph, or do you want to show it in text, right? So those kind of interaction design also comes in the UI layer.
So nowadays, the most popular fear people have is AI is going to take jobs. So it is there in every industry, and
Mm,
we have seen that mostly some of the creative jobs reduced the last 1 or 2 years because of
mm.
the boom of AI. So, what do you think? How it will impact designers?
I would say sometimes fear is important. Fear
Mm,
gives you the freedom or the ability to think and move ahead, right? It gives you that, okay, uh, how do I get out of this situation, right? You might find new ways, new pathways to get out of the situation. I think AI is doing that exactly with designers, right? Now,
mm,
traditional designers is like, okay, the way they have evolved over time is like, okay, here is a comment for you, and you have to do some quick sketches or mock-ups, and that's what you're done with that, right? But with AI, the things are changing, because, and also I'd say the scope for design also is improving. I mean, the scope is much bigger than that, than creating just UI prototypes, right? It is also understanding like what are the areas AI can add value to your life, right? And I think
mm,
only a designing, I think with through proper design research, we can find those insights, right? What do you want to do with AI, right? There's a lot of
mm,
lot of things you can do with AI. AI can be used in healthcare. AI can be used into enhance your business models. A lot of things, right? So AI can also be used to improve on your sustainability score, right? So
mm,
what do you want to do with AI, right? So those use cases are important, and I think design can help us on identifying these use cases. A lot of role might come up for researchers, design research, opportunity for design research, where they might go to the market, do a pure generative study to collect data, understand like where are the friction points, right?
mm,
Where the problem rise, where people are struggling,
mm.
right? So those kind of struggling moments can define the next generation of products, right? So I think AI coming in, uh, this is going to improve a lot, and I don't see there's a fear factor of losing your job, but yet you're a scale up, right?
Mm,
Design, I think, has always been very tactical. We always has been listening to our product managers and engineers to
mm.
do things in a certain way. But design, I think, this is an opportunity for design to raise their voice, elevate their craft, and move ahead and do things which are more impactful for the future.
For your experience, what are some of the common misconceptions about AI in UX?
Misconceptions in the sense like people might feel, okay, AI is going to solve everything for them. Not really, right? You have to use AI to solve certain things in the way you want to, right? And of course, this 2025 is a year of agents, right? Where we are trying to build more autonomous agents so that it can help, uh, you know, uh, build our workflows, right?
Mm,
So that agentic workflow is something where, and of course there are different layers of agents, right? Now you are collaborating with humans, right, in the first stage. The second layer probably is, okay, agents are allowed to do certain things on their own, right? And the third and fourth layer is like agents are completely taken off your task, right? So they are doing everything autonomously. But that
Hmm.
that is the area where I think we are yet to transition to. That's of course in the future, and that will solve many issues like in some of the core business sectors like retail, definitely in the supply chain sectors, definitely healthcare sectors. If you're trying to schedule an appointment within a hospital, agents can do it on your behalf. Or if you're trying to, even in the travel industry, right, where if you want to book a holiday for your family, or you want to buy tickets for flights, right?
Hmm.
Your intent is, so if through that conversations your intent is captured, right? You might say, okay, for a business reason I have to travel to Hyderabad. That intent is captured. You might have to travel to Hyderabad for certain reasons, right? And then
Hmm.
that intent is captured, and then agent can automatically create book tickets for you, airline tickets for you, right? So those are the age which is coming. So I think some of the misconception definitely is, uh, AI is going to kill jobs, AI is going to replace us. uh, those will happen definitely, but AI is also going to create more jobs for the future, which is pretty exciting than what you're doing today.
So I have seen product managers working without designers, and
Hmm.
they are taking some reference from other competitors and using the designs. In future, will there be a stage where product manager can use AI as a replacement for designer and work in at least in those companies where they can give find users with a good tolerance to bad UX?
There's also an opportunity for design to take a product management, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Product management also is in risk for certain industries, because
Hmm.
design is scaling, design is learning a lot, right? So design can probably do product management in the future, right? There's a two-way opportunity here. Product managers might feel, okay, I can take designs. Design can say I can always take product management, right? And that era is going to come, and that era I'm seeing actually happening. So
Hmm.
uh, uh, you know uh, there are designers who are taking up some task of product management as well, right? So I think, see, AI definitely, if you see AI as a tool, definitely there are possibilities where you can do your primary research, or rather a secondary research, using the tool, right? Where you can get first hand evidence of something, right? Maybe you want to
Hmm.
create a user persona, right? Or maybe you want to create your jobs to be done, right? So definitely you can take help of AI. But what design can also bring to the table is like, what is also happening in the market, what how user perception are changing. See, ultimately it's all about behavior change.
Hmm.
Because imagine when computers came in, people are like very anxious, I'll be losing jobs. But computer proved to be an opportunity for us, right?
Hmm.
Imagine digital cameras came in. What happened to painters? Painters felt, okay, now nobody will be buying my art, right? But it continued like that, correct? So the thing
Hmm.
is, with every problem there's an opportunity. That's what I say. Or every disruption is an opportunity, correct? So in that way, I think definitely product managers might take help of AI tools, but design definitely can also take up product management roles in the future, right? So because design is a very, I would say, is a very niche profession. How is my design impacting the business, right? What ROI I'm bringing to the business, right? And if you have answers to those things, I think it will be easy for you to navigate, right?
How much AI support personalization? So giving a unique experience to each users based on their needs.
AI can definitely personalize, but I think the value of personalization is yet to be measured, right?
Hmm.
Correct. So are you measuring that value what AI is giving to you? So I think most of the experience, AI-driven experience, what you're building today, does not have a measurement criteria. There's no measurement KPIs, right? This is one area where design has a lot of opportunity, right? So how do you measure the experience of an AI, right? Uh, so let's say you're dealing with a AI shopping assistant for that matter, right? Where there's a chatbot in the backend and deciding what dress you should be wearing for a party, right?
Hmm.
And the shopping assistant might provide you something, but are we happy with that, right? uh, is that something which is measured, right? Even if the chatbot gives you some random dress items to select from the list, right? So I think this is an opportunity for design to measure that value of personalization, right?
Hmm.
Of course, there could be other business use cases where I want to say, okay, I have to measure the sales for the next 5 years, right? And
Hmm.
that is a data which is available, right? Which does not require any kind of sentiment analysis. It is a given, right? Okay, I'm just querying something from the database and it will give me. But with this kind of experiences where some human emotion and sentiment is involved, I
Hmm.
think we are really not in that phase where you can actually measure these experiences, right? Of course, AI is definitely meant for personalization. Definitely, you'll be getting more personalized experiences in the future, and I would say definitely AI is doing a great job in healthcare because every patient is unique, right? Every
Hmm.
patient might have different syndromes, right? Every patient's body is different, right? So AI definitely is helping them out in that way. But the thing is, how we are measuring this, right? Uh, is it really adding value or is it not? That is something I think it's in kind of a debate going on, and you are still trying to figure out, right, what is the correct KPIs or how do you measure the human emotion and sentiments, right? But yes, I think we are doing pretty much good work in that. But
So, how will AI impact design research? How much we can depend AI for design research?
see, AI is a very new field, right? We have a lot of optimization. Of course, AI started showing a lot of promise for the future, which is good. But again, the question you asked me is like the way I would answer is this way. So we are using AI to build AI, correct?
Hmm.
So we are taking help of AI. Whatever data you're putting up in the chatbot, we're taking the help of the tool to summarize and analyze, and and then
Hmm.
you're using that information to build another set of products, right? I
Hmm.
think there's level of trust, which I think it's not 100% as of now. I would say,
Hmm.
of course, it will never be. We cannot achieve 100% accuracy for AI based solutions. It will be at least probably 99.9%, right? I'm hoping
Hmm.
so that could be the future. But the thing is, what you said that why I mean, even if I am using an AI tool to analyze certain data, again I find it not relevant for me, or maybe I have to go back again to revalidate, which is good actually in a certain way. I would say that human intervention is important, right?
Hmm.
You cannot blindly trust AI, and all the AI principles, design principles, are not telling you to do that actually, right? There should be human in the loop always to validate. Human in the loop is in the final stage where uh, you know even if an autonomous agent is trying to book tickets for you, you might have a
Hmm.
preference on seats, right? What
Hmm.
seat do you need, an aisle seat or do you need a window seat? Do you need seats in the front side of the aircraft or the back side of the aircraft? Because front side aircraft, the noise is very huge and you might get some problems with the ears, right? So AI has to understand all of that, right? Just booking ticket is a task. But I think I also have been using a lot of AI tools these days to analyze some of my data. I continuously check my grammar skills because you're not native English speakers, right? So I keep
Hmm.
on checking grammars, sentence construction, stuff like that. And also, if there's a large research paper, let's say for that matter, I want to understand like how AI is summarizing that, right? But of course, there are certain points, there are certain areas, certain paragraphs which AI is quoting, taking as a reference from the paper. I can go up and read them so that
Hmm.
whatever AI is telling me, I can validate, right? So that validation is important, I would say, from a human standpoint. Yeah.
Take an example of a designer designing an AI tool for someone else. So, in that case, when you have certain users of having maybe a decade of experience in that field, how can we build trust with the users when we are introducing an AI?
How do you build trust with friends, with your friends? How do you build trust with people, for that matter, right?
Hmm.
Uh, right? Do you completely trust someone, or do you trust that person 99.9% of the times? It's a question, open question, right? And we don't know the answer also. Can you blindly trust someone? Maybe you can. Maybe you can, right? Or maybe you cannot. Correct. So that's something also that there's. Uh, I mean, this is a very human psychological character. You don't trust people. So if you don't trust people, how can you trust AI? Right. The thing is, trust is building trust takes time, right? AI
Hmm.
is very old. It's a baby, right? We're just scratching the surface of AI. So in 2 years' time, but it is good that you're discussing on these issues like trust, explainability, you know, retention, recall, whatever, right? So these are good design principles you're talking about in early stage. I think down the line, I see AI would definitely be used as a tool to enhance your productivity, right? Many people are already doing it in their workplace. So, but then the thing is, how do you build trust? It takes time, right? Of course, there are some principles, right? AI should be ethical, AI should be responsible, all those, responsible AI guidelines, right?
Hmm.
So all those has to be in place. And then probably you can start trusting AI, not 100% though, that will never happen. We humans don't trust people 100%, but 99.9% down the line, that's a target we might try to achieve for the future, right? How
Hmm.
much it is achievable, that's a big question. I don't know. But from a trust standpoint, I think some of the responsible AI guidelines, what is defined by a lot of different companies who are define their own set of principles, that would be used to build trust for AI.
So, how a designer can account for AI's limitations of error? What are the things they need to keep it in mind when designing an AI software or a product?
Yeah, I think I covered this a bit. So, working with your model, you need to figure out what that model can do for you, right? What are the limitations of that model, right? So that is a very important aspect. But and this is one area where I want to touch upon is a lot of designers doesn't care about talking to engineers, understand, tell me if you're applying this model, what are the limitations of this model and what this model can do for my users, right?
Hmm.
So I think to elevate design to that level, this is an important aspect. Design should step up and start asking these questions, right? If you don't have a response to these questions, you will not be able to put any guardrails, right? You cannot define for those error scenarios until you know the limitations, correct?
Hmm.
So understanding, so the first step definitely is to understand the limitations of a model, then only be able to put a guardrail around it, right? Once you understand that, then definitely, like you always say a disclaimer like this: is an AI generated content. Please don't blindly trust it. Something on those lines, right? I don't exactly remember what is that exact messaging, but these are some indicators, right? So that thing is always there. And plus, there could be scenarios where AI start hallucinating, right? What do? You start saying, okay, maybe we can come back on this a little later, right? So all those multiple touch points are there where you can probably divert the user and show them that, okay, yeah, it's not functioning well. Maybe you can come back later and try it out, right?
Hmm.
So I just thinking of something like, what if there's a server failure? ChatGTP suddenly fails, and all your AI
Hmm.
systems are running on ChatGTP, right? Which is a foundational model. What do, right? Do you design for those moments, for those use cases? So I think these questions come to mind. But
Hmm.
answer to your question is yes. Understand the limitations. Then only you can you can put those guardrails. But this is one thing I always keep telling designers: like, you need to know the constraint first, in which you need to operate. Once you know the constraint, then only you can maximize your resources and maximize your design outcomes, I'd say.
When I had a chat with engineering leaders, the one thing they mentioned was cost factor. So there is a cost factor also if you are using generative AI to support your designs, for example.
Mm.
So is there any such cost factor? Let's say you can. I'm just curious to know if you have any examples.
Yeah, definitely. There are certain frameworks what you use, which you know generate generate content based on the question you ask, right? Which is like very one-to-one conversation. It's not a conversation. It's a answer to your question. So there are certain frameworks which you use in my organization which does that. There's also something called small language models, right?
Hmm.
Which is cost effective, which can run on your mobile devices, which is pretty lightweight, which is pretty faster compared to ChatGPT, right? But yes, it is trained on very specific things, right? It may not be able to give you a very varied response from different fields, but it will give you a very focused and very crisp response relating to your domain, right? So SLM is something which I would say industries are adopting these days because of cost factor issues. Because
Hmm.
you are right, certain LLM models are very costly, but SLMs compared to that are cheaper, and they are faster, and they are more accurate, right? There are IVR solutions, right, where you want to find out your how much balance you have in your account number. You don't need generative AI for that, right? Why do you
Hmm.
need that? Correct. So of course there are solutions which exist, but with generative AI, I think it is acting as a companion to you, right? It cannot. So with this, so the example I took about checking your account balance through an IVR response, it will not prompt you like what do you want to do next. Do you want to
Hmm.
withdraw money? Do you want to transfer money? Do you want to do certain things? Do you want to find out something else? Do you want to apply for a credit card? So all those multiple things he'll not ask you, right? Or do you want
Hmm.
to do a fixed deposit for that matter? But generative AI was understand your intent to an extent and try to give you those next actionable things for you, right? So
Hmm.
that's why it is generative generative response, I'd say.
Okay.
Correct.
So, let's say for showing insights from the same data you are showing, you
Mhm.
mentioned SLMs. Any examples of good SLM we can use?
Yeah, so Microsoft has Pi 3, right? Pi 3,
Hmm.
3.5. These are some pretty good SLMs which you have launched recently. And yeah, industry is adopting to the SLMs. And I was working with one of my previous project
Hmm.
where we're trying to, build a very focused response using this SLM model. But yes, of course, SLM model definitely has also limitations, right? Um, so I started to understand more on what are the limitations, how could I put those guardrails around it so that whenever the model hallucinates, what what is the response to the users, right? Yeah, so
Hmm.
those challenges still remains, right? But yes, over time, as I said, this is an industry where it is evolving very fast, and of course, in the next few years, you'll see happening in a different manner, right? I don't know what is the scale, but of course, things will be interesting for the future. Yeah.
How can AI help improve accessibility and inclusivity in design?
Accessibility is should not be like a tick mark for you, right? It should be a part of your design process. Every solutions what you make should be accessible. And I think with AI, new opportunities are coming in, right? So AI is now multimodal. So one thing when you used to do application in the past, we used to also add multimodality through screen readers, right? Screen reader would read a screen for you, right? But with
Hmm.
AI, the thing is there's no screen. There's only conversations. Correct.
Hmm.
Those conversation can be read out. Those conversation can be voiced out to you, right? So definitely that is one factor which we're definitely considering. And of course, if you're showing any image or any kind of chart or any kind of any kind of visual thing, right? In while you're also having conversation with a chatbot, definitely those should also be voiced out to the to the end user, right? So the chatbot might say, okay, we are showing you 5 years sales report, right? How have you grown your industry? What profit you made? What new customers got added to your profile, to your portfolio? So all those multiple things are right in voice today, right? We don't have to read out the
Hmm.
content. So that's what
Hmm.
multimodality definitely is one area where I think most of the accessibility concerns will get solved for the future.
How should design leaders prepare their teams for an AI first future?
That's a great question. I love this question actually. This is my favorite question. The thing is, uh, this is what I see as a challenge, Praveen. Right?
Mhm.
Uh, Design has always been a very tactical function within an organization, right? Uh, we always take directions. We don't give directions, which is
Hmm.
something we should do, right? Design has a lot of power to change things, uh, and I think we are not being used that way, or maybe we have not got enough opportunity to drive things on our own. But with AI, things are changing, right? Why
Mm,
changing? Because the thing is, first of all, if you slightly zoom out, right? If you talk about the impact of AI, right? Of course, there's something called responsible AI. Responsible AI is only about how the response you're getting from the chatbot is following responsible AI guidelines. But I
mm,
am trying to understand from a bird's eye view, right? If you talk about responsible AI, it also matters to how we're impacting the society, how we're impacting the economy, the business of your country, or rather the world for that matter, right? So with AI coming in, I think there'll be a lot of geopolitical changes happening in the future, right?
mm,
Some country might feel more powerful because they have more powerful robots, or they might have more powerful bots, right? So they
mm,
might always take advantage of that situation, right? Do you really want to come to that situation in the future, or design can intervene and change things, right? That's an opportunity for us. So I would say I recently wrote a post in LinkedIn saying it's just a one-liner post. uh, the role of the job description of a designer is undefined, and that's the
mm,
opportunity for us. So if it is undefined, you can define yourself for the future, right? What do you want to do, right? Where you want
mm,
to create impact, correct? So I think leaders should adopt this mindset of change. Leaders should understand the future of what's coming with AI coming in as a technology, and make their teams adapt to the change, right? You know, be more impactful. You have to learn AI, definitely. You have to learn the business. You have to learn a lot of other topics, not just AI. I would
mm.
say social science, behavioral economics, right? Geopolitics, for that matter, how it is changing the political environment of a country with AI coming in, right? So all those multiple things, if you learn, I think design has a lot of scope.
So, how can design leaders plan and prioritize projects better with the support of AI?
This question I can respond in two different ways. One is with the help of AI. Definitely, AI can predict. AI has a predictive capability.
Mhm,
They can build some patterns for the future, which will really help me guide like where should I invest more in terms of the business or the products I'm willing to build for the future. And one more thing is, without AI, how will I plan? So without AI, I think there's no 100%. There's no perfect plan, right? We always have to adapt to the change, right? Experimentation. Maybe you might have seen that. Okay, maybe there's a lot of waste of resources, money, a lot of other things probably, which might have gone while working on a project, but that project got deprioritized. But there are great learnings out of that, right? So
mm,
that learning always helps you more cautious for the. I would say this is not a failure; it's an experiment, correct? Because experiment actually is a way to handle an ambiguous situation. If in an ambiguous situation, only experiment can solve you, help you rather, right?
mm.
You have to do such an experiment. That is the only thing that will start giving you some direction. But if you just sit idle and I don't know what will do, but then there's no answer to you, right? Nobody will come and tell you, okay, you have to do this, do the next best thing. So you have to experiment, you have to fail, you have to adapt. That is how you have to see the future of design, and for that matter, every design leaders.
So, how do you, as a design leader, see the OKRs of business, and how do you convert the OKRs to design OKRs for your team, and how do you transfer that to your teammates?
Yeah, great question. I think business. What does business want from us from design, right?
Yes.
Uh, Business wants growth, right? Business wants more market share, right? Business wants more profits. So these are probably some business OKRs, right? And then how do you translate that back to design? Very difficult sometimes.
Mm,
But then design cannot directly, uh, you know, design cannot directly take those OKRs and start supporting that, right? I mean, you cannot directly influence those OKRs. I would say that's a perfect way to put it. But yes, there could be indirect ways to influence those OKRs, right? Definitely design quality, right? That is one thing. The second is we can validate. Are you investing your resource in the right area, right? And that's when design research come in place here, right? Are you figuring out the right use cases? Are you figuring out, okay, this is going to be the next big thing for the future? So those things also design a certain responsibility. So are you doing the right thing, right? So that is again translating back to design. Okay, like if I'm not doing the right thing, how will business grow? Correct. So any solutions, are you building the right features? Are you building it for the right set of people? Those are something coming from design, right? From a business standpoint, I will say I want to make money. You do whatever you want, right? So design has to go in the market and find out, okay, if you want to make money, this is the product you need to build. That will give you a lot of money. Correct.
Anything which is not mentioned in business OKR, finally you added in your team's OKR. Any such examples?
As a design leader, I think I had to take care of my mental health of my team, right? That is not an OKR for me, but I have to do that. Correct. Which is not written in the business OKRs, right?
So the satisfaction of employees in your team, that is one thing you mentioned.
Employee satisfaction, probably, yeah.
I have some rapid fire questions. So are you ready for the rapid fire?
Yeah, sure. Let's shoot.
Okay, awesome. Which job title will vanish as AI advances?
Product management.
What new job title will emerge in future of design?
Business designer.
One piece of advice you will give to aspiring designers?
Zoom out always.
One common mistake every designer makes in their early career?
Focus on the UI.
What is the best trick to make a portfolio stand out?
Make it better.
How fast can you find a bad designer in a design interview?
This is tricky. I think the case studies, if it is not solving my purpose, then yes, I figure it out.
Some companies, some website, still following the old design 30 years ago and still making money. What could be the reason?
Because their users are not allowing them to change it.
Oh, okay.
Because the moment you bring in new design, their users are confused. They just say, "Don't change this." I have experienced this in my previous company. That's what I'm telling you. When you started reworking on some of the features for some workflows, we optimized it. We made it more beautiful and all that. We made it more user friendly. People say we don't need it. These people have been using the application for 20, 30 years. So they are not adapted to that change. They don't have that mindset for change. They're saying, okay, whatever is, it's working, right? I'm happy with it.
That's end of our rapid fire round. And I have heard a lot of interesting answers. Thank you so much. And that's how we have came to the end of this episode. Thank you so much, Alipta.
Thank you, Praveen.
If you like the video, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned for more fun videos.